Does our government have downed UFOs from unknown origin that they've been trying and are trying to reverse engineer and exploit those technologies, to understand the physics, and understand that technology? Do we have that to work with?
I can't talk about that, but the answer is yes.
Let me ask it this way. So there are a number of whistleblowers who have new protections. They're lining up. We know some of them, and that we know generally what they're prepared to say. Let's say they tell this to Congress, and Congress authorizes Arrow, hey, the stuff is over here, go get it. How does that change the world if we suddenly acknowledge, or at least the government finds and locates and tests somewhat in the open, these metamaterials created by someone else, they're not ours, or entire craft that were built by someone else and we can't figure out how they fly. How does that change the dynamic of this? And does that answer the big questions? Who built them, where they're from, why they're here?
Well, it certainly answers the sort of sneaking suspicion that people have had over many, many, many decades that the United States government is not coming out with the full truth of what has happened behind closed doors. In terms of the questions that you're asking about, though, um, technical performance and performance characteristics are fundamental. If the analysis, the level of analysis that has happened on these objects is sufficient to generate, as I said, physics and engineering, that is a major breakthrough, and that would be a fundamental departure point for humanity because humanity would be able to answer that question: Are we alone or not alone in the universe?
We wouldn't be able to answer from that, just from the raw materials or the metamaterials, where they're from or what their interest is. The bigger question is, why are they here? Where are they from? What's their interest in us?
Yeah,
Right.
We get it, but at least that if you had that confirmed, yes, there is somebody else here. Here it is. Here's the stuff. Then you could go on and answer, at least address the other questions.
Well, and not only that, but you could get, the Galileo project has got a lot of different scientific talent and expertise associated with. So you could start really sort of co-opting scientific organizations. That's already happening, actually, but I think you could really accelerate that once the certainty was there that there was technology of unknown origin in existence, that it had been really discovered, and that it was unequivocal. If that message was put out to humanity, it would be a game changer.
Is that true and the message hasn't been put out?
The message hasn't been put out.
But is that true? What you said, that there's technology of unknown
Well,
origin?
I like I said, I can't talk about it, but the answer is yes.
So why? Why would a buddy of mine, a really funny buddy of mine, I was arguing with him like, I don't get it. I said, I don't get it. Why so much contact, so many UFOs for so long? Is there a program? What are they doing? The Tic Tac UFO wasn't performing for favor until it noticed him. It was doing a job. So the question I have is, why so much activity? What is the UFO presence? What are they doing here?
Brings us back to where we started, that word consciousness. I think Colm has some theories about that, right? It brings it full circle to where we started our conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like the old metaphor: if the tree in the forest falls and nobody is there to hear it, is the tree really falling in the forest? So the idea that UFOs are interacting with planet Earth, the sort of most likely scenario is that the reason for that is that humans are on the planet. I mean, it's unlikely that they're focusing only on, marsupials
So
Or trees.
or trees.
so you don't think they'd be here if it wasn't for the human presence here, that
Correct.
somehow that humanity itself is the focus of the interaction between these unknowns that we call UFOs, this other intelligence that are operating these.
That's a working hypothesis. It could be that that they're not just focusing on humanity, but the astounding number of sightings, the hundreds of thousands, if not more, globally, that are personalized interactions between individuals or groups, small groups, and UFOs that have life-changing effects in some cases, and mentality changing in many cases. Leads me to think that one of the agendas of the UFO phenomenon is to interact with humans, but not interact with the White House, but interact with individuals. And there's a maybe a process where individuals are affected in a positive way ultimately.
That they're changing us one person at a time?
I mean, that's a possibility. I can't think that the alternative, that these hundreds of thousands or millions of sightings that have happened in the last, just for the sake of argument, 77 years since 1945, would be sort of completely random events that are sort of passing through and just being in the right place at the right time. I think there's more to it than that, because I mean, the vast number of sightings to me imply that interactions with humans is somehow important and somehow produces something that is viable.
Something that they need? Something that
Um,
interests them, certainly, but something they need from us? Or is it
I
symbiotic?
I I I feel that maybe one of the agendas is human consciousness. That an interaction with UFOs may provoke changes in human consciousness.